In this example, we have the rational function g of x up here, which thankfully has already been factored for us. And we want to identify where the graph of g across the x-axis, where the x-intercepts are, where, if anywhere, the graph will have a vertical asymptote, and where, if anywhere, the graph is going to have a hole. So answering these three questions all relates to where the numerator and the denominator of the function may be 0. So in the numerator, we have three factors. We have x, x minus 1 squared, and x plus 5. And in the denominator, we have 1, 2, 3 different factors below. And so one thing to observe is that we have a common factor in the numerator and the denominator, namely x plus 5. So I've kind of sketched that in green. Otherwise, x and x minus 1, this is a factor of just the numerator. And x plus 1 and x minus 4, these are factors that are in the denominator, but not in common with the numerator. Okay, so to answer part A, the graph is going to have x-intercepts when the numerator is 0 and the denominator is not, since we need this value to be in our domain. So this means we have an x-intercept at 0, 0, since x is a factor of the numerator. And at 0, and at 1, 0, since x minus 1 is a factor of the numerator. And x equals minus 5 is not going to be an intercept because this factor is common with the denominator. So x equals minus 5 is not even in the domain, so it's not an x-intercept. Vertical asymptotes occur when the denominator is equal to 0 and the numerator is not 0. So this occurs, we can see, at two values. So we have 1 at x is equal to minus 1, and we have a second at x is equal to 4. And for the other factor that's highlighted in green, x plus 5, we don't have a vertical asymptote at x minus 5 because, again, this is a common factor with the numerator. So what happens at these common factors is the graph is going to have a hole. So at common factors, call them at common 0. So these are values of x that make the numerator and the denominator both equal to 0. The graph has a hole. This means at x equals minus 5, there is a hole. Okay, so it's not an x-intercept because it's x equals 5 is not in the domain, and it's not a vertical asymptote. So here we have a hole.